going on, Jerome's? Feel a lot better about the world today because, a day removed, it sort of is what it is. The Vikings lost a close game on the road against a surging opponent, stupid-ass Sean Payton. Yeah, that's actually what annoys me more, losing to Sean Payton and corny Russell Wilson. I don't know, man. But sun is still shining. The Vikings are still in great shape. We'll get to all of that. We got some actual Vikings news in the dump today. Also, news that's... It's not a transition, but annual Thanksgiving food shelf fundraiser going on right now. You guys have been absolutely insane with the donations. All Venmos and Super Chats in November will go to Twin Cities food shelves. And again, paying it forward holiday season. Great way to start off the reason for the season or something like that. But paying it forward, helping out others in the community when they need it. It's very important to me. And thank you very much for absolutely crushing it yet again. I think we're at like 1,600. And we're going to toss in $500, and we'll go from there. Fantastic job, Jerome's. Absolutely love to see it, man. Also, so would have loved to seen a freaking flag on the Kareem Jackson hit. Kareem Jackson, habitual line stepper, recently come off a suspension for playing dirty, but he's getting suspended again. Schefter, go. Broncos DB Kareem Jackson has been suspended without pay for 4 games for repeated violations of playing rules intended to protect the health and safety of players, including during Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings. So, also, here's the thing. Like Jackson lowering his helmet, and a lot of current former Justin Simmons chimed in, and Brandon Stokely, former Bronco, chimed in. Not that either of them are biased, but they chimed in as like, it's more of a safety issue for Kareem Jackson because him lowering his helmet puts him at extreme risk for injury. Right, and it doesn't matter if he lowers his helmet and hits him in the shoulder. He still cannot lead with the crown of the helmet. That is actually the rule, right? So it's messed up. And I've seen people make excuses. Well, Dobbs got the pitch as a running back. Running backs are still afforded those protections, unless you're Alexander Madison against Alex Singleton. But that's an argument for another day. So he should have been flagged. The Vikings turnover, even though it was simultaneous, that could have been looked at, getting stripped by Baron Browning. But it should have been, the turnover should have been overturned. The Vikings would not have given the ball to the Broncos at the 30. They would have gotten 15 yards. Kareem Jackson should have been ejected. Kareem Jackson actually played well on Sunday night. And Dobbs, we've said this a bunch. I don't think Dobbs was 100% correct after this hit. He did go to the medical tent. He was cleared to play, but, I mean, was he erratic because of this hit? Who knows? Who knows, man? John Runyon, who's in charge of player discipline, I don't know what his job is. All I know is that his kid is a horrible offensive lineman for the Packers. But Tom Pelissero, the NFL's John Runyon, wrote in his letter to Kareem Jackson that you were involved in a play that the league considers a serious violation of the playing rules. Illegal acts that are flagrant and jeopardize the safety of players will not be tolerated. But they won't be flagged either, apparently. And it's ridiculous. Like, if it's something so blatant, the league office should be able to see this on television at Park Avenue and be like, hey, that's a flag. Give him 15 yards and overturn this turnover. That's what it should have been, man. That's what it should have been. And we've definitely gone into the weeds. Like, the down judge had a very clear view of Kareem Jackson's hit. Yes, Madison was starting to get in the way, but also Jackson should have been a double secret probation with this officiating crew, except they ignored him like he's like a little church saint. It's ridiculous, man. So stupid. Also stupid is the Vikings in one-score games this year. Ben Gessling Strib. Since 2021, the final year of the Zimmer regime, the Vikings have played 36 one-score games, the most in the NFL. After winning 11 of them last year, they're 5-5 in those games this year with a clear culprit, turnovers. So, I mean, yeah, magic carpet ride last year, 11-0 in single-score games, but I mean, the Vikings, they've played close, tight games, and it's really been frustrating. Like, the only double-digit win was the Packers. Of course, that one you couldn't even celebrate because of the Kirk injury. But the thing about it is turnovers, both the Vikings turning it over as well as the defense. I mean, the defense will get their mitts on a ball, except it doesn't seem like they're doing it as the same frequency as last year, where at the end of the Broncos game, it felt like, well, first off, Metella should have picked that one before the half. And secondly, it felt like if this was 2022 Cam Beasley or Patrick Peterson would have called game at the end, but no one did. And last year, at the end of the Buffalo game or the Patriots game or the Jets game, the Vikings just made a play. That's why they're AFC East champions last year. It's rough, man. And also rough is, the Viking side of the turnovers. Alec Lewis, The Athletic. The Vikings lost more points due to turnovers in Sunday night's game against Denver than all but 10 teams have lost points due to turnovers in games this year, according to True Sports Media. So it's not good. It's no bueno. Those other teams lost their games by an average of 16.2 points. Minnesota lost by 1. So the fact that's why this loss is so frustrating. Even though, like we said, in the grand scheme of things, it's sort of whatever. But the fact that the Vikings were clearly the better team. And the Broncos, did they benefit from some dirty plays? Yes. Did they benefit from Vikings turnovers? Yes. Did they make a drive and a touchdown when they needed it? Yes. All that is true. But the fact that the Vikings lost by 1, they still had a chance at the end, despite all of the mistakes. I mean, it just speaks to the caliber of this team. It does, man. And this team potentially could get even better once Justin freaking Jefferson returns from injured reserve and his hamstring injury. And, I just want to take it nice and slow with hamstring injuries, get him back to 100%. And obviously, it would be great if JJ suited up and was all hands on deck Week 12 Monday Night Football against the Bears. But also, if he's not 100%, he's not 100. And Kevin O'Connell spoke to local media Jackals on Monday, and reading between the lines, I don't know if JJ is going to suit up on Monday. This is what Kevin O'Connell said. Quote, this is from not Carl Groschmidt, Kevin Seifert. I think that will definitely go into the decision-making process. Kevin O'Connell said, we're right at the 6-week mark or so. He's really attacked his rehab, and I think that when the time comes, we'll feel comfortable with Justin being out there. I know Justin will as well. It's one of those things that knowing you have the bye and knowing that there are 5 critical games that come after the bye, we do have to be smart. This is a player that means a ton to our organization, both for his home stretch to try to solidify our positioning in the playoffs and try to compete in the division as much as we possibly can. That's inspiring. But we just want to compete in the division as much as we possibly can. Like Dan Campbell would eat that for breakfast. It's like I'm not even ready to run through a wet paper towel after that. Oof. But Justin means a lot more than just 5 or 6 games, as critical as they are. His long-term career here is a priority. It's a hamstring injury. Like, it's not something that's going to completely derail his career. I don't get it. But either Kevin O'Connell's playing games here with the Bears, which I don't think that he is. He doesn't really seem to have that gear that a lot of coaches do. But I don't know. Like, if JJ has to be out another week and then into the bye, so be it. Yeah. Another injury to an emerging Viking stud, Kevin Seifert, ESPN, who was not Carl Gerbschmidt. Caleb Evans, who missed Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. Would have been nice to have his size on the outside against Cortland Sutton, but Caleb Evans is also questionable heading into practice the week before Bears-Vikings on Monday Night Football. That's how honest Kevin O'Connell is. Like, he lists dudes as questionable on Monday for a Monday night game. First practice isn't even until Thursday. It's crazy, man. The Broncos absolutely targeted his replacement rookie Mekhi Blackmon, including the winning touchdown. Although, even though Blackmon surrendered the winning touchdown in quarters coverage, I actually don't think that he played that bad. I really don't. But that's potentially controversial. But having Evans back, helping combat DJ Moore on the outside would be really important. Also in injury news, unfortunately, Dean Lowry, the free agent defensive lineman, the veteran, he gone for the season. Vikings go. Head coach Kevin O'Connell has announced defensive lineman Dean Lowry suffered a pec tear and will go on IR. Chris Reed will be activated to the 53-man roster. And sucks losing Lowry. He has missed time with various injuries so far this season, but this does open up opportunities more for rookie Jaquelin Roy to get a lot more snaps. I think that he's been fantastic. Also, just using Tonga more at nose tackle makes sense. Plus, also, maybe the Vikings finally add themselves some depth along the defensive line. By God, that's Akeem Hicks music. Our guy Eli Corbett on one. And, I mean, Akeem Hicks has done some terrible things to the Vikings throughout the years. Like, why can't the Vikings sign him and have him do some terrible things to his former team, the Bears? I mean, come on, man. And the whole thing about Sunday night is I understand that people just want to be negative, but the Vikings are 5-1 in their last 6 games, and there's a lot to like. And we put this out on the old Twitter machine. The Vikings are 6-5, 81% chance to make the playoffs per PFF, 6-2 in conference, 2-0 in division with 3 division home games left, 2 games against Detroit. So I mean, Detroit, the Vikings don't control their own destiny anymore in the division. They need Detroit to slip up a time or two, but they still have 2 games against Detroit to really decide things. They have an emerging top 10 defense, one of the best O-lines in the game. Jefferson is returning at some point, maybe against the Raiders after the bye. Hockenson is a top 2 tight end. Addison is a top 2 rookie wide receiver. The Passionate can certainly be streaky, and he can certainly get on one, and he adds an interesting dimension to the offense. And when this team started out 0-3, 1-4, like, honestly, what more do you want? Like if I told you that the Vikings would be 6-5, including a 5-game winning streak when the Vikings were 1-4, you would have called me a liar, especially with the Chiefs game. I mean, JJ was lost after the Chiefs game. So 1-4, no JJ, a couple weeks away from losing Kirk Cousins. But this team is resilient. This team got off the mat, and this team is still in the thick of things in the NFC. And I feel pretty damn good about it. You should too. There you go. But that's it. That's it. Vikings Tuesday news dump. Short week. Weird. I don't even know what day it is. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.